Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Maria Marcano, and I am the Burnout Repair Coach. In this segment, we're going to talk about all things burnout, and I want to give you ways to reverse the physical, mental, and emotional damage to burnout, and actually career burnout specifically. I work day and night with very successful career women, but this advice is not just for women, it's for anybody. Because the truth is that in this day and age, many of us are suffering from all of these things that seem to be separated but have one thing in common, and that's burnout. So the idea that is that I will be sharing tips and we'll be having conversations so you can have more vitality, more mental clarity, and you can be successful without breaking your body or your relationships in the process. So today I picked a very, very powerful theme, and it's the weekend. So I remember years back when I burned out, because I burned out too, and many of my clients tell me the same thing, is that the week goes by and all you can think about is the weekend. The week is just getting started and you're wishing it was Friday because you are so fatigued from the moment that you wake up. And so we start creating this idea in our minds that just resting over the weekend is enough. And the truth is that burnout will not fix itself if you just relax for the weekend. Why? Because burnout, unlike stress, is chronic. It actually stays with you, and in many countries, is considered a syndrome. So just so you have an idea, we'll talk about the weekend, and it's actually going to be a diagnosis to find out whether you are burning out or you're already burned out. So a good measurement will be the weekend. So what do I mean about a good measurement? So let's say Friday comes in and you have a number of things that for you are relaxing and that you think are going to fix this problem. So looking at the weekend, some of the things that people do are they go on a mini vacation, that take a long weekend if they can, or you just stay at home and watch TV and, kind of sit around for a long period of time. Maybe you stay in bed maybe you sleep in until like 10 a.m. and you think that's gonna work. Maybe you just, relax out in the porch and don't do very much. Some people get something like a massage or some type of therapy, go to a yoga class. Maybe you are more adventurous and take, acupuncture treatments. And some people confuse resting with entertainment. So then you start going out, girls' night out, or maybe you do retail therapy. So any of these things, even if you extend it over the weekend, maybe you actually have a vacation, like a full week of vacation. These are not going to reverse your burnout. None of this. So why is it that it's not going to fix burnout? Because burnout, it's not stress, like I said at the beginning. burnout, it's not a matter of just resting. Burnout affects you in your mind. Some of the things that people experience are brain fog, poor memory, difficulty focusing, but also emotionally. So you start feeling like you had no motivation, like every day it's a Groundhog Day. You start feeling like you have no enthusiasm for your work anymore. And it's also physical. So beyond the fatigue, you start having aches and pains. You start developing some symptoms that you can't quite understand. So as you can see, burnout is a holistic issue. In order to repair a holistic issue, we have to have a holistic solution. So the word holistic basically means that it's not just one-dimensional. It's got many areas that we want to address. So the weekend, yes, as much as I want you to rest, does not apply to you being burned out from Monday to Friday, right? When you think about your solution to burnout, it has to be something that actually is integrated into your lifestyle. It cannot just be for the weekend. I am not saying that resting is not important. Resting is super important, and I want you to take breaks and to relax and to rest as much as possible. And if the days that you have the chance to do this are the weekends, then take longer periods of rest and relaxation over the weekend. But know that it has to also happen during the weekday. And it doesn't stop at resting. So resting is just one area of this holistic solution. It's like if you had a formula and you're only looking at one variable. In order to solve a formula, you have to look at all of it. So resting over the weekend is not going to fix something that is a more complex formula. So let me tell you, I already told you kind of the things that most people do, right? So they do these things on their weekends or long weekends on their vacation. And this is the diagnosis. Let's say you had a long weekend and you got to sleep in and you took a nap and you watched TV most of the day and didn't do very much. Or maybe you went away for the weekend and you spent the day at the beach, kind of relaxing, sort of, not doing very much, reading a book. Or maybe you just, went on to a staycation into a hotel, went to a spa retreat. All of these things sound like they would help, wouldn't they? But here's how you know that they are not your solution. And this is how you are going to be able to tell whether you are just having a lot of stress or you are burning out. How do you feel on Monday? What happens when you come back to work? Even if it's a long vacation, how do you feel on Monday? Do you still wake up and feel tired? Do you wake up and your mind starts going about the things that you have to do and you start feeling anxious and overwhelmed? Do you actually, before even Monday gets there, start thinking about it and feeling, oh my God, my vacation is going to end. Oh my God, the weekend's going to end. And you kind of suffer mentally and emotionally just knowing that Monday is about to come. This is very common and it's sad because a lot of sad events happen on Mondays around people that are not addressing this. So that is how you know that this is not just stress. This is how you know you might be burning out, because it doesn't matter how sweet of a weekend or a vacation you had, when you have to return to your work, even before you show up at the office, you start suffering. You're still tired. You're still feeling anxious. You'd rather not go. You're just even worrying about the number of emails that are going to be there because you were gone for a while. This is the sign that you are now having a chronic condition. That is what burnout is. It's chronic. And that means that it is kind of like a signature, I call it a stamp on your nervous system, that it's now really kind of guiding every single thought, is guiding every single pattern of behavior. It's guiding your physiology and how your body works. And so it doesn't get fixed in a short little sort of band-aid solution. But I want to give you some ideas of things that you can do. These are things that I teach my clients, and you can do, but do them regularly, not just over the weekend. So again, think holistically. Think just touching as many areas of your life as burnout is touching right now. So one of these things can be learning conscious breathing and practice it regularly. By regularly, I mean every day. Even if it's just 2 to 3 minutes, ideally if you're able to do it for 10 minutes. You have to also learn to self-regulate your nervous system because, like I said, burnout is a stamp. It's a signature now in your way of relating to the world and how your nervous system responds to it. So self-regulation means that you're able to recognize when you're moving into the stress response, that flight or freeze, and create activities, create ways of behaving, moving, thinking, and doing that take you out of this. And so there's many ways to self-regulate. Some of them had to do with acupressure. Actually, breath work is one way to self-regulate. Some others have to do with redirecting your attention. Some others had to do with movement. But you have to know how to master your own nervous system and not only just to respond to a stressful event, but to actually put your nervous system into a better state as often as possible until that becomes the normal, because as of right now, burnout is the norm. Another thing you can do is redirecting your thinking. So I talk about that. Redirecting your thinking is all about discipline. And most of us feel that our mind is running the show because we haven't created a discipline around meditative practices. And that is actually what meditation does. It's not just clearing your mind. It's actually learning how to focus and redirect the mind and to observe without adding the emotional aspect to the thought. Moving your body in ways that trigger things like rest and digest are super important. So the way that we move our body every day, it actually signals to the brain what we think is going on around us. So if you're moving in ways where you're always kind of, in this type of closed-hearted situation and your neck is like this, you're looking down all the time, your brain is actually receiving the signal that there's either danger, there is worry, that there is something not going right. And that's how we see it in front of the computer or with our cell phones in our hand, or actually when we're driving around. So starting to move in ways that we're signaling rest and digest functions are super important keys to start doing in order to reverse burnout. Repairing your gut. So you probably have heard the idea that your gut is your second brain. So you might be burning out your body by the way that you eat. So working on improving your microbiome and your general gut health is going to improve your mood, because some of the signs of burnout are actually beyond the physical and mental. They are emotional. Like I would say, that lack of enthusiasm and motivation, that sense that really the day has no meaning to you, which is very painful. It's similar to depression. You want to do things that improve your sleep. So there are certain ways and habits and rituals that you can start doing to improve your sleep hygiene. And last but not least, eating for energy. So this is something that people do in the weekend, that I think is kind of funny, because you're using the weekend to regenerate and to rest, but you end up giving yourself permission to eat all kinds of things and drink alcohol and then binge maybe in front of Netflix with a big pint of ice cream because it feels good, because the week was so hard. But what you don't understand is those things actually deplete your body and then make you more tired, more inflamed, affect your gut health. So you're actually aggravating the situation. Does that mean you're bad? No, it's you just didn't know and you didn't have the coping mechanisms. So I want you to take at least 2 of these things that I mentioned and start applying it regularly, every day. And then write it down in your calendar, right? We're so organized with everything else. We're really on top of our calendars and our appointments and our deadlines. That's why we are very successful. And so we need to start taking this the same way. It's not a weekend thing. It's a daily thing. Just like you have the responsibility for your staff and your team and your company, you have a responsibility to your well-being, for your family, for your relationships, and for your own good. So pick 2. Why I say 2? Because us, I say us as the type of people that tend to burn out, we are overachievers. We like to do a lot. we want to get it right. We want to get it right from the get-go. And we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to learn. So we want to just pick one thing or two things and then try to get good at them. And then only when you feel that they are kind of like your habit and they are integrated into your lifestyle, then you add something else. This is how I work with my clients. Because if I was to want to overhaul the entire lives, they will shut down. I mean, their nervous system is already overwhelmed. If you try to make a complete change from one day to the other, your mind is going to respond to it as resistance, and your body might too. So you want to do it progressively. You want to do it in a way that is sustainable, but you want to do it seriously. Like I said, put it in your calendar, and then maybe get an accountability friend or do it with a friend so you can actually know that you're going to stick to it, because you are going to want to skip it. You're going to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm going to do it over the weekend. And so don't be a weak work week warrior that all you do is fight and push and do and just, force yourself to then collapse over the weekend. Instead, nurture yourself all week long. Take care of yourself. Remember that resting alone will not be enough. And now go ahead and do for yourself the diagnosis test. Like, take a weekend, rest a lot, do things that make you feel good, and then see how you feel on Monday. This is not for you to be afraid. It's that for you to know where you are. Except, for example, if you don't have an idea of where to start, you cannot move forward. It is important that you understand and own it. In 12-step programs, the first thing people do is like, I have a problem. You have to know that you have a problem. It is not you. It is just a behavior, a habit, environment, and many other things that are playing a role. But until you understand where you are, you cannot move forward. So pay attention on how you feel on a Monday after resting all the weekend long. And if you feel good, then you know that it's just a matter of managing stress. That can be a little easier, but all the techniques I gave you apply to that as well. So make sure you manage stress now so you don't end up burning out. So everything starts with you. Thank you so much. And remember, burnout, it's not necessary. You can prevent it and you can be successful without breaking your body or your relationships.